ranking members, members of this joint commission, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today in my capacity as chairman of the advisory panel to assess domestic response capabilities for terrorism involving weapons of mass destruction. You have, as you've indicated, the written testimony. Your staff director has given a very able and wonderful summary in which she discussed very much the work of our panel, which has been in existence since the Congress established it by statute back, I believe, in 1998. We began our work in the beginning, January of 1999. The panel was certainly initiated by Congressman Kurt Weldon of Pennsylvania, who has a particular concern, particularly about local responders, but the entire Congress, members of both houses, uniformly supported the creation of our panel that began work back in 1999. The mandate was to assess the terrorist threats and potential for attacks targeted against the homeland here of the United States. Concern was expressed by the Congress as to whether the country was really willing or was able really to respond appropriately if there was an attack, particularly of a weapon of mass destruction. Your staff directors indicated we have given 3 reports by statute on time in December of each year. The first in 1999 was an assessment of the threat and was one that expressed concern about the potential for an attack of a weapon of mass destruction, but indicated I thought that it was less likely than a conventional attack, which we thought was very highly likely. That report and all the other reports and staff work has been staffed by the RAND Corporation at the behest of the Congress. Mike Wormuth is here today. Mike, if you would please indicate your presence to the members. He has been staff director together with others at RAND and have been very able and helpful to all of us. The second report built upon the baseline threat, but also indicated some very important policy conclusions in the year 2000. One was that there was a need for a comprehensive national strategy, that a national strategy was necessary to begin to prepare for the very high likelihood that some major terrorist attack would occur on the homeland. The recommendation was not for a federal strategy and remains not for a federal strategy. The recommendation is for a national strategy, and that means the inclusion of federal, state, and local elements in the creation of the national strategy. Second of all, we recommended that there be an improved structure for the ability to coordinate and establish that national strategy. We recommended a national office of Homeland Security, and of course, that later became the Ridge Office of Homeland Security. We also recommended, by the way, that office be given significant authority, particularly budget certification authority, in order to enable it to do the coordination work. But also we recommended it be Senate confirmable, and that way we would pull everybody together. The third report builds on the first 2 and focuses detailed work in the areas of border security, the use of states and locals particularly, the health community in preparation against an attack on bioterrorism, the use of the military, which has been a fundamental concern of our commission because obviously of its civil liberties implications, and so it has to be very carefully handled. And then finally, cyber terrorism, and that gives you the background. Mr. Chairman, with respect to the issue you have asked us to come speak to you on today, as the staff director indicated throughout our 3 reports, we indicated concern about the issue of intelligence and intelligence gathering. I might mention, Mr. Chairman, that our commission was due by statute for 3 years and was to go out of business in December of 2001. Following the 9/11 attacks, this Congress extended the commission. We are extended for 2 years. We remain an advisor to both bodies of this Congress and available, and we will be issuing additional reports in December of this year and, of course, next year as well for the 5th year of our commission. With respect to intelligence and sharing of information, our concern has been expressed continuously over the life of this commission. We did a survey, particularly of state and local agencies, a very large survey, over 1,000 survey questionnaires were sent, almost complete response, almost a uniform response across the country to our commission, and we learned a great deal, and it allowed us to have what I believe to be a good national perspective. First and foremost, our commission has expressed concern about the lacking of mechanisms to effectively analyze and share intelligence information horizontally across the federal structure. CIA, FBI, NSA, not to mention the non-intelligence organizations your staff director has so eloquently talked about this morning, the ability to share that information across the federal areas. And that, of course, is an impediment because of culture and because of turf concerns, which we have identified. In other words, there has up to this point not been an ability to draw this information together from disparate intelligence organizations and to do what so many people have said in the last some number of months, the ability to connect the dots. It just hasn't been there because of this difficulty. But the second point is equally as important and the least discussed, and it is the concern that we have expressed about the inability to share information not just horizontally, but vertically, up and down the line, federal, state, and local. The inability to share information with governors, the inability to share information with state emergency operations people, state police, localities, police chiefs, fire commissioners, fire chiefs, healthcare community people, emergency operations organizations. This is just as important as the horizontal focus that has been so key to the Congress. Our studies have indicated that to the extent that there has been intelligence sharing, it has been ad hoc. It has been without a real systematic approach. And what would you expect? With the intelligence community, it is absolutely within the culture, if not within the statute. You don't share information. If you do, you're even subject to criminal penalties, not to mention the danger of sharing information and to the danger of people who provide it, and the capacities of the United States in order to gather it. These are the fundamentals. But these things must be overcome by an appropriate system of sharing information, clearing people, training, exercising, and establishing so that people who need the information can, in fact, get it. There's a lack of an overarching strategic approach on this matter up to this point. Now, we'll close, Mr. Chairman, by just saying that we also should point out that a lot has gone right. Not just gone wrong, but a lot has gone right. September 11th demonstrated that our citizens arose in a very brave way. Our local responders, who will almost always be the first people on the scene, performed heroically in Virginia and in New York. I was governor of the state at the time that Virginia was attacked, at the time of the Pentagon attack. I was well aware of all of that. I visited people in the hospitals. I visited our state troopers and awarded them because of their good work, and we have a lot to say about that. The last point I will make, Mr. Chairman, is this. We are a free and an open society. That is what we are. That's what makes us Americans. Therefore, we will always be at some level of risk. The challenge that we face is sharing information, establishing a national strategy, and putting together the systems necessary to make this country safer while simultaneously and at the same time protecting our freedoms and our values that make us Americans. Our commission believes that we can share information, create it, and share it with relevant stakeholders without impinging upon any of these American values.
Thank you very much, Governor.